Are you single?
Yeah.
You're single? Why?
It's so funny because I was taking a shower this morning and I was like, "Why? She's gonna ask why I'm single."
You got to, because you're giving dating advice.
Yeah.
I had Stefan Speaks on here. And
Really?
he's the relationship guru.
Mm-hmm.
But he's single.
He's single.
How does a person be able to give relationship advice that's not in a relationship? Just explain that to me. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, man. Well, what's going on here? Teach us something. What's happening?
Yeah.
What are we missing?
She seems like a nice lady, but I always question people about, I don't know, how you can give advice about something if you're really not. So I don't know. How do you feel about somebody not being in a relationship, but being a relationship guru?
They might have their opinions, but I don't think they can speak from experience. And I don't think that they can tell you like how to do things or what's right, because there's even different types of relationships, like us being in an interracial relationship, but plus also like with blended families, both of us are co-parenting. I mean, people who are in just a regular marriage, married to the same person for 20 years, they can't speak on what we deal with on a daily basis.
But I think on some form they can speak of, some of the dynamics of dealing just with a partner in a relationship over
communication and negotiation. But yes, but somebody who's single, unless they were in a long-term relationship and now they're single, maybe, but they can maybe speak from past experiences, but
if you're in a long-term relationship and now that you're single, I think it would matter on how long you were in a relationship, and then also how long you've been single. Mm-hmm. Because being in a relationship is almost like a muscle. It's almost like lifting weights. It's like if you hadn't been in one for a while, there's certain things that you are just not as good at as when you were in a relationship and you were constantly working on them. It's almost like this whole pickup thing. Like, if you've ever been in a relationship for a while and then you became single and then you tried to go back out and try to get back out in the dating market, and you seem weird, and you was like, man, I used to have it. Yeah. But it's
you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, well, you don't necessarily lose it, but it's like a muscle. It's like you got to get it back into shape. You know what I'm saying? And so are people really being genuine when they're giving, advice about things that they're not currently, participating in themselves? Or are they actually doing it for the money? I would venture more on doing it for the money. And the reason why is because, if you were, as passionate about the relationships as you're, speaking about, then you would possibly be in one and pursuing to be in one.
I think that some people maybe are doing it thinking that they're doing it for the right reasons. They just might not know any better. Like, they're out there speaking on something they probably shouldn't be speaking on.
I've been in relationships.
Longest one?
4 years.
That's not that long. Come on.
How is it not that long?
4 years?
That's a long time.
Who do you give advice to? People who are not in relationships or people who are in relationships already?
It depends. Kind of both, but mostly people who are trying to get a girl.
Right. So your experience pretty much goes to about 4 years long. So you can't teach nobody long-term game.
I don't agree with you.
You've only had the longest relationship has been 4 years. Can you really teach somebody long-term game? I mean, I guess in 4 years you could have went through some stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're in a relationship, you probably had some ups and downs, but there is going to be quite a few things that you can't speak to, just in a 4 year span. Because what I would venture is that in the 4 year span, it took a couple months, playing games with each other before you became serious. Mm-hmm. And then what type of dynamics did you have in your relationship? Did you both still have your own place, or were you living together? Because having your own place versus living with somebody is totally different. When you see somebody every day, and when you get in the argument or whatnot, you can't just pick up and leave and go to your own place.
Yeah.
So there's different dynamics within it.
Plus, marriage is different too than just a relationship, because when you're in a relationship and you're not married, I think in the back of your mind, you always kind of know you have a quick out. But when you're married, it's different.
I think marriage can change the dynamics of relationship time just mentally. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much that, the relationship actually changes. It's the mentality of, the people in the relationship. I've heard some people say is that my relationship was fun until I, signed those papers.
Some people might just relax and kind of like stop trying
to
keep things, kind of like, okay, good, we're
Yeah.
We tied the knot. She's
Yeah.
secure now.
I can see that, where some people, it's like, well, I don't have to do as much because now I got you. Because I have seen quite a few dynamics, out in public where you kind of wonder sometimes, like, did y'all actually really meet like that? The wife may not match the husband sometimes out in public. And then you will see sometimes where the husband doesn't match the wife out in public. When you see where the husband doesn't match the wife, sometimes you're like, I wonder if he's got money.
Yeah.
Always what I
Or
think.
maybe they just met really young and they just matured. They age differently.
But you also put an aspect in there too, is that you can't always judge somebody's relationship just by looking at it, because you never know. They might have a certain connection, like just a mental or just a social, just an emotional connection that is more than just looks. The more that looks matters for a person versus the emotional connection, I think they've set themselves up for to not be as happy as they could.
You need something to fall back on because the looks aren't always going to be there.
Yeah, as you age, you know.
Or even just like you get the flu or something. You could go through some really bad times.
I'm gonna give you some relationship advice. Relationship advice I would say is that, listen, women always ask, like, why you want to see me in my pajamas? Because I want to see what you actually look like. Unless you're gonna have all this makeup on while you sleep at night. Like, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I roll over and you scare me.
I like that you tell me that you actually like me better with no makeup, because it takes the pressure off me of having to get all ready every day.
You're saying, like, how can you relate to something that you've never been through? Like, you might say, I've been in a relationship for 15 years. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know what you're going through. You can't say that. You got to be like, well, just thug it out.
But you've been dating for more than 15 years.
But not one person. That's the advice. That's what you were talking about, like a monogamous one-person relationship, right? That's what you're trying to advise.
It depends what you're looking for. I'm not just giving advice to guys who want a relationship. I'm giving advice to guys who just want to hit.
Really?
That makes more sense.
Hit it and quit it?
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because if you're single and she's single, and I'm pretty sure that she has not, how do I say this in a nice way?
She has an active DM?
I'm pretty sure she hadn't been using just battery operated equipment. Yes, I would say that she probably could get advice on that. And the reason why is because she probably has people that are reaching out to her, that are sliding in her DMs, and then depending on when she's out in public, getting hollered at and different things like that. Listen, women are like, man. I don't care what people say. Especially women that are out in the public and women that are, visible and being out like that. They're like men. Is that they do have needs and itches to scratch, also. And I think she can speak more than that. The relationship part, I don't know about a relationship.
She could speak probably very good on both sides of being single and a guy who just kind of wants to hit it. She could probably speak on, how a guy should approach a female and also what a female should do. I think that she probably could see it from both sides.
Like, is this the person that you really want to be taking relationship advice from? If you want... you want to take hit it and quit it advice from it, then yes, this is your person. Relationship advice,